Hi everyone, today I'm going to introduce the collection and setup of SBUS receiver for F108 PNP version. And here is a F108 PNP version. F108 PNP version does not come with transmitter or receiver, so the users need to prepare the receiver that supports SBUS or ELRS protocol. In this tutorial, I'm going to introduce how to connect SBUS receiver to F108 and how to set the parameters in Mission Planner. And I take RadioLink R8SM mini receiver as an example. Here it is. It supports SBUS signal, and it can also be connected to the flight controller of F108 directly. And to better show the collection, I also use a separate flight controller of F108. Here it is. You can check the socket introduction of the flight controller on the screen. And this is the port to connect to SBUS receiver. I can use this cable to connect R8SM and the flight controller. The connector of the SBUS port of the flight controller is PH1mm 3-pin connector. You can buy the PH1mm 3-pin connector online to modify the cable to connect the flight controller and your receiver. And we need to connect the cable according to its definition. RC means the signal, so the cable is always in light color. So it is a yellow cable here. And VCC is the positive pole. The cable is always in red. And the GND is the negative pole. And the cable is always in black. So here is a collection of the flight controller. Now collect the receiver. We can check the definition of the pins from the sticker. And the upper pin is the negative pole and then the positive pole. And the SBUS signal at the bottom. So we need to connect the cable like this. Here is the collection of the receiver. And this is the right collection of the flight controller and R8SM SBUS receiver. R8SM is already connected and installed to this F108. Here it is. And the flight controller is at the bottom. Here is the collection cable. It's recommended to use a mini receiver since it can fit the receiver compartment here. So before you connect the SBUS receiver, please make sure it fits. And when installing the receiver, you need to loosen the two screws here. After it is installed, you need to tighten the screws here. And here is the antenna of the receiver. After the connection, we need to set the parameters on the computer. And we also need a Type-C cable that comes with F108. It's used to connect the flight controller and to the computer. Remove the cover of F108. And remove the battery. And here is the Type-C port of the flight controller. And connect one end of the cable to it. And connect the other end of the cable to the computer. The flight controller is connected to the computer now. To set the parameters, we need to install the Mission Planner and the RadioLink official website. Aircraft F108. And click Firmware and MP. We can download the Mission Planner here. Here it is. And I have already installed the Mission Planner on the computer. Here it is. Open it. Select the COM port and COM port 20. And the baud rate is 115,200 and connect. It is connected. Click Config. For parameter list. And we need to set two values. First, search for serial 1. We need to set the value of serial 1 to 23. And it is 23 here. and then please search for serial 3. And we need to set the value of serial 3 protocol to 2. And then click Write Params. Okay. Parameters successfully saved. Okay. We need to reboot the flight controller and click Disconnect. And then unplug the USB cable. The setup is done. Let's check if the collection and setup are successful and unplug the Type-C cable. And I use RadioLink TES transmitter to control F108. And I have already bound R8SM mini receiver to TAS. Now power on TES. And connect the battery to F108. Fix the battery. And when collecting the battery, we need to make sure the positive and negative poles are not reversed. You can see the signs here. The plus means the positive pole with red wire, and the minus means negative pole with a black wire. Plug battery. Put back the cover. We can see the LED of R8SM is in solenoid because it is already bound to the transmitter. And please make sure the LED of R8SM is in purple because it is in SBUS working mode. If the LED of R8SM is in red, please short press the bending button twice to change it from red to purple. And here is the bending button. And then I'm going to arm F108. Put the throttle stick at the lowest position. Then you can push the switch CH7, the button on the left, to arm F108. Push up the button. F108 will be armed. Push it up. You can see the propellers rotate at idle speed, indicates arming successful. Push down the button. F108 is disarmed, and propellers stop rotating, and push it again. F108 is armed. And F108 can be armed. It means the collection and setup of the SBUS receiver is successful. So that's all about the collection and setup of SBUS receiver for F108 PNP version.